You may heard of G7 Summit and seen this big group photo taken when a bunch of leaders meet to discuss big issues and poses awkwardly for a group photo that probably ends up in headlines all over the world. But who are these nations? What do they do besides awkward handshakes and group photos? And why you should care about this anyway? Welcome back to another simplified video. In this, I explain G7. G7. It is one big international and intergovernmental economic organization of 7 countries, also known as Group of 7, that sit around a table in a fancy hotel making economic decisions together, thanks to the piece of paper they signed in 1975 and agreed to be friends. Originally established as a vehicle that drives industrialized democracies to discuss the global economy. But now, it has expanded its scope to issues like peace, security, climate change, and now even coronavirus pandemic. Why should you care about this group? This group of 7 countries represent nearly 40% of world's GDP. With regards to net wealth, the G7 is absurdly rich. According to Credit Suisse Global Wealth Report, G7 countries account for more than 60% of global net wealth. 5 of the G7 countries rank among the top 10 countries with largest gold reserves. So there is no doubt the organization of rich countries has the potential to be very powerful. This is why one has to pay attention to this group. The 7 countries are US, Canada, UK, France, Italy, Germany, and Japan. The world got 195 countries. But why only these 7 countries? In fact, it started as group of 7, then became 8 and went back to 7. Then there is even G20. Confusing, right? To understand this clearly, let's go back in time. It was during 20th century, a world of modern technology. People are very happy polluting the world with their big new gasoline engines. Most of the oil for their big fancy engines is coming from the Middle East. Besides making huge money from oil, there is another thing in which the Middle Eastern countries were so much interested in. It is Palestine. They wanted it so badly that they even fighting a war with Israel. In my previous video, I have explained and oversimplified the Israel-Palestine conflict. The link is in the description. Go check it out. Trust me, it's an awesome video. Back to the story. When countries supported Israel in war, they thought it was cool. But the big oil producing nations thought it was not so cool. And they replied with an oil embargo. Gas stations started to run out of oil. People started to get crazy when their fancy engines stopped spinning. Some even got crazier and started to ride on whatever the animals they can find. They thought it was cool, but the countries thought it was not so cool and desperately wanted to do something about this. So they planned a meeting. Soon the 6 countries scrambled their jets to meet in a remote location near Paris, signed a paper and formed a club in 1975. The next year, Canada joined the club in 1976, making it Group of 7. And that's how G7 was born. The fancy club of 7 rich nations initially started to focus on global economic challenges. Soon its scope extended to include foreign policy, security, and energy security in its notebooks, due to the geopolitical tensions with the backdrop of devastating war in Middle East back in 1980s. With the fall of Soviet Union in 1991, Russia loved attending these fancy meetings regularly and even asked, "Hey guys, can I join the club?" The countries were like, "Why not?" And the club became G8 in 1998. They thought it was cool, but it was until Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine. Now the group thought it was not so cool and kicked out Russia in 2014, changing the club's name back to G7. Russia said they don't care because they are part of the other group, the G20, which includes the new players in economic power bloc like India, China, Brazil, and other major emerging economies. The G20 was created to counter the influence of G7. I will be telling more about G20 in a bit, but first let's see how G7 works. The G7 leaders take turns for the presidency each year to host the meeting and set agenda. The leaders spend a couple of days in luxury hotels, holding meetings and press conferences in which they discuss a wide range of global issues. Although the official member list currently limited to 7 countries, but the invite list is a bit bigger than that. Leaders of many other nations often invited to these fancy meetings, making Australia, Spain, and India regularly in attendance. The G7 has been around over 45 years now. Before we think about the work G7 has done, let's remember that G7's original functions were only to exchange ideas on global issues and possible solutions that they can accomplish together. In other words, it's not the primary objective of the group to set targets and no mandatory obligations to achieve those targets. This is why Sir David Attenborough urges G7 leaders to prioritize tackling climate emergency like a goal, and it is urgent. The G7's advantage of having a relatively small group of like-minded countries that can fit around a dining table is that it is easier for them to come to an agreement relatively quicker when compared to G20, where discussions takes place among a large group. But if G7 acts as one, they not only complement each other's actions but also send out an international signal that encourages the other countries to act in similar way and help together, making the world a better place. As I said, G7 is not inclusive, rather it was confined to only big old powers, and some even say that G7 does not represent world at large while G20 is more inclusive. The G20 is a group in which all G7 countries plus China, India, Brazil and other emerging major economies are present. The G20 represents 85% of global economy. So in a nutshell, G7 is mainly about global politics. It was called G8 only when Russia was involved. The G20 on other side is mainly about money. It is made up of way more countries and many people say that it is where the real business gets done. The G20 was mainly created to counter the influence of G7 and has a way bigger role to play. There are a lot of interesting things to talk about G20. I will be doing a separate video on that, so hit that subscribe button to not miss the video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up by hitting the like button down below the video. That's pretty much it. See you in the next one. Till then, peace.